Now, the England women are just one win away from the final of Euro 2017. The Lionesses are through to the semi-finals after their first win against France in 43 years. They are now the highest-ranked team left in the competition and will face host the Netherlands tonight. Manager Mark Sampson said he thinks it's been a long time since there was a genuine belief that an English team can go and win a major championship. It's already been a successful year for women's sport in England, with the cricket team winning the World Cup and British #1 Johanna Konta reaching the Wimbledon semi-finals. The last women's football game was watched by 3.3 million people, making it the biggest peak TV audience for women's football. But does the female sport get the coverage it deserves? With us are Sarah King and daughter Isabelle. They are huge fans of women's football, and Isabelle is a keen footballer herself. Rachel Brown-Finnis, former England goalkeeper, is speaking to us all the way from Holland, where she's doing commentary for tonight's match. And in a moment, we'll also be joined from commentary by Annie Zaidi, a Women in Football ambassador who's been awarded a British Empire Medal for football coaching. Welcome to all of you to the programme this morning to talk about women's football. Izzy, I want to start with you. How did you first get into football?
I think it was through my primary school. They sent out letters about a club and I wanted to see what it was about and get involved, and it kind of escalated from there.
And have you been following England's progress?
I've watched every match I can, and then also catching up on the other group results and final knockout rounds through online.
So from when you first started playing at primary school to where we are now, you're a lot older, what do you think about how much coverage there's been available of women's football on TV, how much you get to read about women's football, you see in the papers, how much coverage they get compared to the men's game and other sports?
Well, when I started there was virtually nothing.
Right.
I didn't fully hear about women's football until the 2015 World Cup, and that was when I first wanted to go in, wanted to watch it. But it's grown massively, the coverage. I still think there could be more compared to the men's game, but I think it's growing and it's good.
And what about attitudes towards football, women's football, and the fact that you play?
Since they won bronze at the World Cup, I think the attitudes become a lot more positive. People are actually realising what it could lead to, because we're now in the semi-finals, we're one win away from the final. So I think people are enjoying it and seeing it as more more of competitive now.
Have you ever received any negativity about playing?
No, I haven't.
No. Well, that's good to hear. How encouraging, well, I was going to ask you, how encouraging has Mum been?
Well, she didn't originally watch women's football until I got into it, so I think that's been quite a big part of getting her to watch it, was me playing it. But she's been very supportive, yeah.
Mum, how important is it for people like yourselves, parents, to encourage their daughters to play?
I think it's really important. You know, I don't think we should differentiate between what girls and boys can do, and if it's something that your child's passionate about, then you encourage them to do that, whatever it is. I mean, as Isabelle said, I didn't really watch any women's football until she became interested in it, and we go down and we watch Arsenal women's team, and it's fantastic. The games are really exciting. You know, it's a really enjoyable sport, so I think we should be doing everything we can to encourage people to watch it on the television, to go and watch it, and to encourage girls to take it up as well if that's what they're interested in.
What about the role models in women's football?
I think there are some excellent role models. I mean, one of Izzy's favourite players, and she's probably one of mine too, is Jordan Nobbs, and when you see her play, her work ethic is fantastic. I mean, she puts in 100% every time. She just never gives up, and I think that's really good, you know, for me to say to Isabelle, look at how she takes on challenges, how she performs when she goes out, and that's something that you can aspire to and work hard, and you can get some really good results too.
And the big showpiece is tonight, of course. The Lionesses taking on the Netherlands in their semi-final. Let's go to Rachel Brown-Finnis, who is there. Morning, Rachel.
Good morning, Tina.
How are you?
I'm very excited ahead of tonight's game. It's a little bit windy here, but
it looks slightly windy.
It's more like English conditions.
What's the atmosphere like there? You're obviously working out there and you've been doing some commentary. What's the atmosphere like?
Well, we're here in the centre of Enschede, which is where the semi-final is going to be. Just 3 kilometres down the road is the stadium, F20. So later on today as the atmosphere starts building. They've already constructed a lot of the fan zone and a lot of the, it's a big event. You know, there's loads of things for the children to do, for people to learn more about women's football, about Dutch football. So I think it's going to be absolutely booming a little bit later on.
Can you talk to me about the journey from the beginning of the tournament to where we are now?
Well, for England, they've hit the ground running. They flew through the group stages, beating Scotland 6-0 in the opening game, really put a stamp on the tournament for them. Jodie Taylor scored a hat-trick in that game, so she's been prolific and from the start and has continued that. Second game, they beat Spain 2-0, was very, very clinical, not too many chances, gave up a lot of possession, England, but ultimately came out on top. And in the third game, Mark Sampson made 10 changes to his starting lineup to give pretty much every Lioness in the squad a chance of starting a game. Meant that come the quarter-final against France, which people didn't expect to encounter France so early on, you know, they were touted as favourites for the tournament, that most of the Lionesses who were starting that game were fresh. They'd had pretty much a whole week off. And so what England have been is authoritative in their performances. They have been clinical, and when they've needed to defend, they have been a white wall of defenders. They've been relentless. I think one of your guests there just said that the team never give up, and it's exactly. Jordan Nobbs is one of those players, but it runs right across the team. From a defensive possession, when England are not in possession, every single one of those players is giving everything to ensure that the goalkeeper has nothing to do, and that so far has been the case. We've lost Karen Bardsley from the starting lineup.
Yeah, I was going to say, talking of goalkeepers, really bad news for Karen Bardsley. Have you spoken to her, seen her?
I've dropped her a message. I mean, she's obviously been consoled by her teammates. We've spoken to her teammates, and she's as buoyant as ever, which I think is what resonates across the whole team, is that feeling of togetherness and that feeling of sort of a collective goal. It's not about one player, and if one player's out, another player will come in. The belief is in no way dented with the loss of Karen Bardsley. Siobhan Chamberlain will come in to start that game tonight. She finished the game against France and looked as accomplished as ever. So this team, even though they won't have Jill Scott because she's suspended, I'm sure they'll bring in someone potentially either like Jordan Nobbs into that position, and bringing on Tony Duggan, or bringing Farrah Williams, who's got over 160 caps for a country. So really the depth of squad that England have got now surpasses any from the other three remaining teams in this competition. And now the expectation is England should go on and win the tournament. How exciting is that?
That's really exciting, really exciting. And I think it could happen. What do you think about, I know you're over there, but 3.3 million watching England's win against France for the first time they've beaten France in decades. What do you make of, and are you able to soak up how people are reacting back at home?
I think we are a little bit. I mean, hearing those figures is fantastic, and you know, we're doing commentary on 5 Live and the co-commentary on 5 Live, and we know that people have been listening, getting involved in the build-up shows on the Facebook Lives, on social media, as well as through the radio and the TV. But that's testament to, I think, where the journey really started. As one of your guests said, 2015 is where all the games were shown live on TV. People really got behind the country. It was a hard time. Laura Bassett ended up scoring an own goal, which meant that they got knocked out in the semi-finals of the World Cup, but then went on to beat Germany in the third-place playoff and get their first ever medal at a World Cup. Since then, the nation's been behind women's football, and those viewing figures just prove that. It's moving in the right direction.
It certainly is, Rachel, and I'm going to do this to you. Your prediction for tonight? All
right, Tina. Well, I know you're a big fan of women's football, so I'll throw it back at you after my prediction. But I'm going to go with a 2-goal differential. Even though Holland have been firing, their forward line are really, really strong. I'm going to go with a 2-0 win for England.
OK, I'm going to go slightly less optimistic, 2-1, just because it's a home tournament for the Netherlands. They're going to have all that home support, but I've no doubt England will go on to win.
Either of those scores I'll be happy with.
Rachel, thank you. I'm just going to speak to Annie next. Annie, tell us a bit more about what you do and how you got involved with football.
Good morning. I'm just been a football coach for over 8 years. Worked my way from bottom, from the grassroots to elite, and hopefully now to the professional game now. Just recently completed my 1-year development elite coaching program with the FA. So aspiring to become an elite coach.
And hopefully you will be. I'm sure you will be. Have you been? Well, of course you have been following the tournament. What do you make of England's progress?
Let's just say that when we beat France, my next door neighbour came knocking, asking if everything was okay because he heard me screaming. And I'm like, yeah, everything's fine. You know, we reached the semi-finals.
And what do you think about the journey that women's football's been on? Because there have been a lot of people, you know, really hardcore fans, but a smaller number of them, and it's now getting all of this extra attention. England obviously did so well in Canada at the Women's World Cup. You know, Mark Sampson's now led them to semi-finals at 2 major tournaments.
Yeah, I think it's a snowball effect from 2015, which has increased the participation, the playing participation, the watching, the viewers, and even the media has been supporting the games, channeling a little, writing in the newspaper, articles, or social media. I think everything is working in the right direction. If I would say we need to do more on grassroots level rather than the top level, because I think the top level is developing itself. I mean, we're in the quarterfinals tonight, semi-finals tonight, so I think we need to do a bit more work at grassroots level to increase the girls' participation.
And are there enough opportunities for people like yourself to get involved in the coaching side of things, and for young girls to get involved with playing at a grassroots level?
Oh, definitely. I think with the FA Women's Strategy launch, which was launched earlier this year by Baroness Sue Campbell and Kelly Simmons and Rachel Pavley, I think them 3 strong, aspirational females at that within the national governing body have got a vision of where they want to be, and I think it's going in the right direction. A little bit more investment would be fine, like everyone could do with more money invested in the women's game. But slowly but surely, I think it will come up. I think we're playing catch up, but I think everything will work out fine.
All right,
and I've seen a good vision of more female wannabe coaches or players.
Annie, I'm going to leave it there because I want to get a quick word from Izzy. Izzy, a prediction for tonight?
3-1 England.
3-1, Mum?
I think 2-1 to England.
OK. BBC Newsroom Live is coming up next.